Where does he get those wonderful toys? Welcome back to the Skate Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're talking about Batman.
Batman. We're talking about not just Batman, but we're talking about all the Batmen. At least all the Batmans, all the live action movie Batmans. And obviously we'll be mentioning some other incarnations of Batman and other various related things from over the years, but our focus is we're gonna try to keep our focus on the primary live action Batman
Speak
films.
for yourself.
So,
the Batman character was created by artist Bob Kane and writer Bill Finger and debuted March 30th, 1939 in the 27th issue of Detective Comics. The first live action appearance of Batman was in 1943 in a 15-chapter serial starring Lewis Wilson as Batman. It was notable for the first appearance of the Batcave. The second appearance was 1949 Batman and Robin, which was also a 15-chapter serial starring Robert Lowry.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
All right, this was your idea, so you take it away.
So, I have some facts and statistics and other things that I was going to share, as well as some memories of my own personal experience growing up with Batman and the influence that whole world had on my upbringing.
Sure.
And I'm assuming that you also have some similar anecdotes.
I've actually never heard of Batman until you said this. I had to look it up real quick.
That's funny. Okay. So, in a recent IGN post, they determined that according to their poll results, Christian Bale was favored as the most popular actor to play Batman over Robert Pattinson, who came in second place. And then other, which I guess was some other kind of, I don't know, other category, which was in third place. And then in fourth place was Michael Keaton. And this was as voted by IGN followers.
Robert Pattinson came in number 2 with only one movie that's only been out like a couple weeks or something, or a month.
Pattinson, not Patterson.
What's his name?
Robert
Pattinson? What did I say?
Patterson.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Whoopsie-daisy. Yeah, but so Christian Bale is still number 1 according to that particular poll, and then Robert Pattinson's in number 2. And then let's see here. We also have, according to IGN, we have a top 14 Batman films. And now this particular list does include some animated ones. So, according to this list, in 14th place is Justice League, the theatrical cut, in very last. Not surprising, because that was so bad. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice was in 13th. Batman and Robin was in 12th, which I don't know how that movie beat BVS. I don't get it. And then Dark Knight Rises was in 11th. Batman Forever was in 10th. Zack Snyder's Justice League was in 9th. Batman the Movie from 66 with Adam West was in 8th. The Lego Batman movie came in 7th. Batman Returns came in 6th. Batman 89 came in 5th. Here's an animated one. The Batman Mask of the Phantasm came in 4th. Somehow that beat 89 Batman. Don't ask me how.
How to do that?
No idea. In third place was Batman Begins. And in second place was The Batman, the newest one. And number 1, The Dark Knight, was in first place. Which, it's good. It's a good, up until, I'll say when I saw the new one, I would have said The Dark Knight was obviously the best Batman movie ever, or to ever feature Batman. But,
all right, let me ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Is Avengers a Spider-Man movie? Or an Iron Man movie?
It's
or a Hulk movie
with Iron Man.
Because, well, what I'm getting at is I noticed that you said, like, Justice League as a Batman movie. Yeah, he's in it, but he's not the featured character.
Right. That was just that particular list. I think that particular poll was based off of, like, movies that feature Batman. So that was,
Okay, all right.
That was just that particular ranking.
Okay, I was just wondering because, like,
I wouldn't consider them Batman movies. I might, right. If I said that, I misspoke again. So,
but, no, I was just curious
I've
how
got
you
lots of
personally place
lists.
them.
No, not technically, and that's not how I frame that in my head, because
Okay.
it's not a solo Bat film. So yeah, the new one I think is, in my opinion, the best Batman movie I've ever seen as far as Batman movies go. But I will also say, in my personal opinion, Ben Affleck is still the best actor to ever play the character, because even though the new movie was good and the Batman aspect of the character was just spot on, I feel like the aspect of Bruce Wayne, the alter ego, and that whole thing was not well done. It was just like this.
Batman's the alter ego.
Yeah, well, okay, so but Bruce Wayne,
Yeah, but I think you
whenever
said Bruce Wayne was the alter ego.
did I? I must have. Touche.
He's Batman all the time, and once in a
Yes.
while he's Bruce Wayne.
Well, it's funny
He goes
because
out as Bruce Wayne and beats
in
up criminals, and he
what's
sits around
funny
as
in
Batman in Wayne Manor.
I
Hey,
misspoke
you
there.
jabbed me for calling him Patterson. I have to nitpick back at you.
What's funny is in the new movie they talk about the mask representing who
I
the person the really who the
I
real
have not
person
seen
is.
this movie yet. Don't
No,
spoil it
I
for
know.
me.
I'm not giving you spoils, not any spoilers. They just talk about how, and this is something that's come up in Batman movies before, like who the real person is the mask who represent who they really are, or if who's under the mask, does that represent who they really are? So they talk about that as a theme in the new movie. And but yeah, I just feel like the new movie, as much as I loved it, and as much as I'll even say it is the best Batman movie ever made, the Bruce Wayne aspect of the movie was lacking, in my opinion. But I assume that's just an issue of character development. If I have to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe in the future when they make some follow-ups, that maybe they'll develop that a little more. So yeah, we have that. I've also got some stats here I'd like to share. Bat facts, if you will. Adam West was 6'2". Michael Keaton was 5'9". Val Kilmer was 6 foot. George Clooney 5'11". Christian Bale 6 foot, and Ben Affleck 6'4". Robert Pattinson 6'1". So that means Ben Affleck is the tallest, and George Clooney, actually no, Michael Keaton is the shortest. And it's just kind of interesting, because Val Kilmer is 6 foot, and so is Christian Bale.
Well, Michael
And
Keaton's ears made up for it.
that's
I think he had the
funny.
tallest ears in the
He has
films.
some pretty tall ears. Yeah, and then Ben Affleck's was the shortest, but that's funny because he was also the tallest actor. Uh, Interesting factoid also. Both Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson auditioned for the role using Val Kilmer's Batman Forever screen used costume. And I've seen footage of this where, well, I haven't seen the Pattinson one, but I've seen Christian Bale's screen test audition. It's clearly Christian Bale, but he's wearing the Val Kilmer suit. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Um, and Cillian, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, if it's Killian or
Murphy?
Cillian Murphy,
Cillian Murphy, I think.
also auditioned for the Batman role in 2003 for Batman Begins, but ultimately was cast as Scarecrow in the movie instead. But I've also seen that footage of Mr. Murphy wearing the bat suit, and yeah, it just doesn't work. Probably safe to assume that George Clooney probably also auditioned in the Batman Forever suit, since it came afterwards, and it seems to be the suit that everyone auditions in. So I would assume anyway.
Is that the one that had the nipples, or is that George Clooney's?
Yeah, Val Kilmer's Val Kilmer's did pretty much when Joel Schumacher took over. He was like, "Hey, I got an idea."
If we can take them seriously wearing a nippled bat suit, then
Oh my
we know it can work. They can make
gosh.
anything work.
If we can make this work, sky's the limit. Yeah, so basically, anything before Adam West, I'm completely unfamiliar with.
But yeah,
Um,
I've never seen those either.
I actually grew up watching Adam West Batman myself first, before I knew any other kind. Before, obviously, before the Michael Keaton movies were made, and like I wasn't really watching any animated shows. It was just, if you asked me what Batman was, I would immediately think of Adam West, and that was all I knew in my head. And it being a little kid back then, I thought Batman could fly, Robin could fly, like because in my head, all these superheroes, if they had a cape, they could fly. So that was just what I thought. The older I got, then I realized, okay, he's just a guy in a suit. He can't fly.
My first memory of Batman that I can think of was, I'm pretty sure it had to have been Michael Keaton's first movie,
Yeah.
because that came out before the animated series, and I knew I saw that first. But I do remember when the animated series, what was that, Kevin Conroy, and
Came out in like '92.
yeah, I remember being really big into that. But I think, let's see, didn't Batman Returns also come out in '92?
Yes.
I think I've said these kind of stories before. There was a lady that worked with my mom, but they would take like a VHS tape and they would put movies on there for us. But they would do it like however you do that, where you could fit 3 movies on one VHS tape.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
And the Batman movie was one of those movies I had where, like, I can't remember if it was like the first, second, or third movie, but like I would have to like either rewind or fast forward through the other
Yeah.
2 movies to get to the one I wanted. And they would just cut off the credits to save tape. But that's how I had this
Yeah.
movie for years, was on one of those just homemade tapes with
I
Home
had lots
Alone
of
and
those growing up
and I
also.
think Home Alone and maybe The Great Mouse Detective and Batman were all on one tape. But yeah, so I used to I owned it, in a matter of
Hmm.
speaking, and I
Yeah.
remember watching it a lot.
That's funny that your first memory was the '89 film and not nothing that came before, nothing animated or Adam West or anything.
No, yeah, I didn't. I think I might have known about Adam West, but not much. I
Okay.
definitely didn't watch that one growing up.
Hmm. Yeah, so for me growing up watching that, it was so bright and cheery and cheesy and when the Tim Burton movie came out, I remember going to the theater, seeing it for the first time with like I must have just been with my dad and my brothers, and first of all I was scared, and I was just like, it was just so hard for me to, as a kid, to get through it because it was so dark, and Robin was not in this, and I was like, where's Robin? Why is this so dark? Why is this this is it was like hard for me as a 5-year-old to sit through.
Yeah,
But
I'm not a fan of Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl.
yeah.
I like Batman being a loner.
Yeah.
Um, I in like the cartoons, like the Justice League cartoons or whatever, and you got Superman and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman. That's fine,
Yeah.
but in that first cartoon and the movies, I like him being a loner. I don't, aside from, of course, like Alfred or
Right.
Commissioner Gordon, Lucius Fox, whatever. But like they're not like literally running around with him. I like where he just gets a little pieces of information from them and then does his thing.
Right.
Now, did you ever watch The Shadow, or
No.
do you know anything about it?
I know of it, but
Okay.
I know
The
that there's
Shadow
been
was
some
another comic book
influence.
character. It was actually before Batman. And if I'm not mistaken, the writers were influenced by The Shadow
Right.
for Batman. And there's even a crossover where Batman meets the Shadow, shakes his hand because he admires him. He looks up to him. He's like his hero, the reason he got into this kind of work, so to speak.
Right.
And then they made a movie for that in, I think, '94 with Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
And it's a little more like, it's got, a little fantasy type element to it,
Yeah, it
but
sounds like it's like one of those old radio shows kind of
yeah,
things,
yeah. The Shadow, I think, started off as a radio show, and then
like
it
a
was
radio
probably a
drama.
serial, then the movie, comic books, and all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, I know The Shadow was. You can find the picture from that panel where they're like they shake each other's hands,
Yeah.
but it's funny because there's this misconception because of the Nolan movies that Batman's always had this rule about anti-killing, and I know for fact, in the early days, he was pretty brutal and he did kill or, tear guys
Hmm.
up pretty bad. And
Yeah.
in fact, I know in one version, he actually carried a gun. A gun was a part of his, tools.
Hmm. Yeah. He's part of his
And,
utility belt.
yeah. And I know, and obviously the Michael Keaton, he throws a guy down a bell tower thing or whatever, and he's flying the
Yeah.
jet through and he's just bombing this warehouse that all these guys are in. He doesn't know where they're standing. He's driving the
Right.
Batmobile through, and yeah, he has no problem with killing guys in that. The Nolan version did the his one rule thing, which worked well with that movie. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's that. Speaking of the Nolan trilogy, my biggest complaint with the Nolan trilogy, as much as I loved it at the time, uh, in retrospect, I really feel like that version of Batman was such a blip in the history, such a little blip in the history of that version of Gotham City. And that's what bothers me about it. Like,
What do
okay,
you
so
mean?
in Batman Begins, he pops up, he's around, and then you get to Dark Knight, and he's been around for I don't know how long it's supposed to be, like a year or two at that point. Um, maybe 3 years at most, I would assume. But then he at the end of the movie, he goes into hiding, and then you get to Dark Knight Rises, and he's been in hiding all these years. And I think they said it's been like 8 years. Batman's been in
Yeah.
hiding, and then he comes back out one more time to
Well, he was
get the
injured.
bad guys. And yeah, and
His
then
leg was injured too.
and by the end of that movie, by the end of the third movie, he's presumed dead in the explosion. And so it's just like, okay, there was like this guy that dressed up as a bat and fought some crime, and then he got killed, according to like the Gotham City officials. And it's just such an insignificant part of Gotham's history that I don't know. It just them erecting a statue about it. Just I always found that a little hard to believe, but
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, with Nolan's movies, I think The Dark Knight Rises was the worst.
I agree
There's so many
completely.
things that don't make sense about that movie.
Yeah,
There's a prison in some country where it's just a pit, and but they have electricity so they can have TVs on, and basically anyone that's able to climb the pit can get out.
yeah, but
Like
no
there's
one's
no
ever able.
guards. Yeah, no one someone drops food and water, I suppose, every once in a while, and
Right.
it's just basically, but they're able to do whatever that sounds like, a sci-fi movie. And then it's that movie's just so ridiculous.
Welcome to the pit, the Bat Pit.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
climbs up, and then he gets to the top, and now he has to pick a direction, start walking, hope to find a city,
it's such a
and then be able to charter a flight back to America,
it's such a frustrating
somehow
movie.
get into his bat cave to get his, or wherever he's, has his stuff, get
Yeah,
his thing, somehow gets on top of a bridge to paint a bat signal in gasoline,
and set it
trail
on
it
fire.
down, trail it down on the ice where he knows, somehow he hasn't been there in months, but somehow he knows where they're going to be walking. Remember how they like basically
Oh,
walk
I
the plank? They
forgot
have to
about.
walk out on the ice as
Yeah,
a form of execution. He knows they do this. He knows where they do it. Like of all the places they walk them out,
yeah, where they were like death by exile.
yeah, he knows where to be standing and waiting on the ice himself to light it, to have this big
Oh
reveal. And I was just like,
man,
what?
yeah,
Um,
that was a hard movie to get through for me.
the Bane character, I thought there was going to be this big reveal of what's wrong with his face, why he has to, like, I don't understand, why does he have to wear this mask? He
Yeah,
says it'd be extremely painful. Okay, what happened to him? They never explore that. I don't know, like, and it's just like that's it kind of reminds me of Red Dawn to a degree, where the idea that a part of a state or a part or a city is being held hostage.
hmm,
In this case, it's a nuclear bomb. In Red Dawn, it's like I think it's the Russians with a couple other countries. They actually are occupying all or part of, I think, Colorado, and basically like that part of that state is like cut off from the rest of the U.S., where basically it's like held hostage in a way. All the
hmm.
civilians there are kind of held hostage. It's just such a goofy. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. And then like the first Batman Begins, like they do this thing in movies where you'll have a guy talking to another guy, but it's really just for our benefit, so we know what's going on. And like
Yeah,
that
I think they
scene
call
where
that. What do they call that?
poor writing.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
there's a word for that. Anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm sure. But it's like that scene where like the water vaporizer thing is on the not the it's not a
Yeah,
subway, it's
yeah,
on the monorail. And
yeah,
basically you got the old guy, that's blowing all the water lanes. If it gets to Gotham Central, it's gonna go kablooey. And
yeah.
like it's basically like he's telling this other kid like
They
like,
explain
oh,
it like
yeah,
five
okay, dude, who
times.
you talking to? I know, I work here too. It's
I
just
heard
so
you
silly.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, yeah, they explain what's happening to the
yeah,
audience like five times back to back
yeah,
to back to back to back. It's
yeah.
so funny. Like I remember noticing that as a first time viewer of that movie, thinking, okay, we get it. We
I'm not saying the movie was terrible or
right,
nothing.
right,
It
right.
was just
That
I
one part was
think
like, oh come on, we could have done
for
that
Nolan's
differently.
movies, obviously The Dark Knight is the best, Batman Begins, then The Dark Knight Rises, I would say, in that order, best to
Yeah,
worst. But just those three.
yeah, yeah. I would say, I would agree with that.
So I've heard nothing but good things about the new Batman movie. You and a couple other people I work with and talk to have all said they liked it. I've never
Yeah,
heard anything negative about it.
if I had to just call it like I see it, it's the best Batman movie I've ever seen. Really, it really was, and it's one of those things where you don't feel like it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like it because it's
Yeah.
done so well. That was the
Now,
same. Yeah, go ahead.
the other Batman movies, you got two with Keaton, one with Val Kilmer, and one with George Clooney, and they kind of do that James Bond thing where they're switching actors, but it's still supposed to be. It's not like a redoing. It's continuation, but you're just supposed to
Yeah,
accept it. Now, what's weird if you look at especially the first Batman, if you will, the '89 Batman, they kind of mix the '80s with like the 1940s. There's this weird
yeah. I always
thing where you're
wondered that.
seeing like what was modern cars at the time, but then you see guys in trench coats and fedoras, like they're in a Dick Tracy movie, and you're seeing this weird stuff where you're hearing like Prince music, but then you're also it's so weird.
Hmm.
Um,
It is
and I
weird.
can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen Batman Returns, and I can't remember if they continued that into that movie.
Yes,
You
they
would have
did.
to.
They
They
totally
did
did.
okay, but then obviously when you get to Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, it looks like it's set in the future. Like this is like Blade Runner or Judge Dredd type. That
Yeah,
neon
there's
lights
neon
and
lights on
yeah,
everything, even the
like they took the
guns.
whole look of the world, so to speak, is different, but it's weird. I remember seeing those movies. I didn't see. I know I didn't see the original Batman in theater, but I saw Returns, Forever, and in Robin. I'm pretty sure that was like a big deal at the time.
Yeah,
And I
and
think at the time I wasn't as nitpicky maybe as I am now, but like I probably thought they were okay. I don't think I was gung ho about them, but
well, when Batman, I saw the first two Batman movies in the theater, and then when I saw the other ones as well. But having seen the first two, I was so excited for Batman Forever, and I was like, uh, when I saw it in the theater, I was so disappointed. Like this is such a departure from what we've already seen. And then when I remember you and I were hanging out one day, and this is around 97. I think we were just walking around town uh, all day, and we didn't have much to do. And so we are like, hey, you want to go see a new Batman movie? And I was like, sure, okay. So you and I walked across Lincoln Park over to the theater, across town to the theater where it was showing, and it was just so like, just it was just embarrassing.
I
I
don't
remember.
remember that,
You
but
don't
I'll
remember?
take your word for it. You have much better memory than I do.
Yep.
Now, is that the one where Batman he like Flintstone slides down the Brontosaurus like statue
Yeah,
in the
it
museum,
is.
and he's
They,
got a credit card
yep.
in Batman's name with the Bat logo, and the expiration is forever.
Yep. That would be the one.
um, Now let's see.
Yep.
That's okay. So that's the one that has like Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. It
Oh my
has
gosh. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze,
Yeah.
and then it
Thin
also
ice. he
right, and then he also that's Chris O'Donnell is he's in both of those too, right?
plays
Forever and
Robin in, yeah, those
right, but
two.
he's in the previous one, right? Forever.
Yes.
Okay, so he's back for that, and then Alicia Silverstone is Batgirl, correct?
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
Yeah,
Yes, that is her.
yeah. I and like I think that's when she like somehow she discovers the Batcave, and I remember they're doing the Max Headroom thing where
Yeah.
Alfred is like it's a program that he recorded
Hmm.
AI, and it's doing the Max Headroom stutter thing, like glitch thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Wow, that was really bad. Let's see. I know we're going out of order. So Forever, that was the one. What Tommy Lee Jones is Two Face,
Yep.
and Jim
Jim
Carrey
Carrey.
is supposedly the Riddler, although he acted more like the Joker.
The Riddler. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, and that isn't that the one with like he has that goofy contraction where like stuff will like go into your head or something
Oh
like.
yeah. So my wife and I just watched this with our daughter, because she wanted to watch it. My daughter wanted to see Batman Forever. So I was like,
Okay,
"Are you sure?" I was trying to tell her
I
it's
haven't seen it in
terrible.
years.
And so we just watched this thing like 2 weeks ago, and it was just like, so the whole plan was the Riddler had this contraption called the box, and it goes on top of your TV. And the benefit to the viewer, supposedly, is that it makes what you're watching seem like a holographic 3D immersive experience. But the side effect that Riddler did not intend to happen, but it did happen, was it sucks all their brainwave energy out of their heads
Hmm.
and broadcasts it all to one source, which then he's able to feed the brainwaves of all these people with the box into his head, which makes him turn into like some super genius. I don't know. It's so stupid.
I'm trying to think what else significant happens in that movie.
Well, we're introduced to Robin and his family at the circus, and his family is killed trying to defuse a bomb or something that Two Face brings over to the circus, and
Yeah.
they're yep, yeah.
And Nicole Kidman's in that, right? Now she's not Vicky Vale, right? She's a new character, correct?
No, she's Dr. Meridian Chase.
And do they say
Chase Meridian.
why she what? What'd you
Her
say?
name's Chase Meridian.
Okay. Do they say why Vicky Vale is not there? Is there any explanation?
Well, no.
Oh, because she's not even in the second movie, is she?
They talk about her in the second movie,
Okay.
and yeah, because Catwoman was like
We're going backwards here. Yeah.
Catwoman. We're going backwards.
Batman
The cat.
Returns was Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, and Selena Kyle was like she was saying, "Oh, Vicky Vale, huh? Ice skater or stewardess?" Like she's out of the. It's just like that sounds like a name of a ice
Ah.
skater or a stewardess, one of the
And
two.
Christopher Walken was in that, correct?
Yeah.
Who was he in it?
He played
Max something, I thought.
Max. I don't remember.
Max.
Max something. Max. What did he play?
Max Headroom.
No.
Max. Max.
Max. Oh, what did he play? I don't remember. Batman. I'm gonna figure it out real quick
Well,
here.
since we're going in reverse order here, so then let's see. You have Keaton, of course, Jack
Max Shrek
Nicholson, and then Billy D. Williams has a small part is Harvey Dent, right?
in the first movie.
In the '89 version. Although he doesn't really do that much in that movie, does he?
No, I mean he's kind of like this supporting role, but
Yeah.
I think Tim Burton, had he continued with his
Right.
vision, he was going to make him Two Face, obviously. But
Do you know why he didn't
oh
continue
yeah,
after
I
Returns?
know the whole story
All
why.
right, let's hear it.
So what happened was the first two Batman movies came out. They were dark and edgy, and there was black goo coming out of Penguin's mouth, and there was lots of violence and all that. And so the corporate powers that be decided, hey, this is really hard to sell to kids in a Happy Meal. We need this thing to be lighter and brighter and happier and easier on kids' eyes. And
Wait, now hold on. So that was for
so
Forever, right?
yeah, so they're
And isn't
going
that
with
also the one that has Nicole Kidman like lure Batman with the bat signal, and she like takes off her
yeah,
coat with a
yeah,
bada
yeah.
boom dress,
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah,
and
I know.
the
It doesn't
nipples
make
on
any
the bat
sense.
suit and the
Yeah, it doesn't
close-ups
make
of
any
the
sense.
crotch and everything.
But this story I was telling you is also why Michael Keaton left, because he got worried of them saying, "Oh, they're gonna make all these changes," and he's like, "All right, I'm out." And that's why Tim Burton left, Michael Keaton left, and so they got Joel Schumacher, and they cast Val Kilmer, and the rest, unfortunately, is
What else is
history.
Joel Schumacher known for directing besides the two Batman movies?
I'm not sure. I know. By the way, he did pass away a
Oh,
couple years
really?
ago.
I
Joel
didn't know that.
Schumacher did.
Okay.
But I think he directed the live action movie version of Phantom of the Opera, um, which actually I thought was done really well for his directing style. It worked.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know what else he has done. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the 66 Batman, I saw part of that and I didn't even realize I was watching the movie. I think I thought I was watching the show because the only things I remember about it were all the villains were together,
Yeah.
and it was like something about they sucked the moisture out of people and they became like a pile of powder or dust or something.
That would be the one.
And the only other thing like of significance I remember is something about Batman has a bomb
Yeah, and he's
and
got it's just like this
he's trying to
comically large
figure out
bum.
where to throw it, and there's some kids fishing over here, and there's someone doing a paddle boat over there, and then there's some ducks over there, and I was
Yep.
like, surely he would throw it past the ducks. uh
Yeah.
and isn't that also the one with the shark, right?
Yeah, that's in the
Okay.
beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Um yeah, so in the beginning of the movie they get they're on this they're in this helicopter, and it's like the Batcopter, and Batman goes down on the ladder while Robin is piloting the helicopter,
Hmm.
and there's this ridiculously fake looking shark that just jumps out of the water and latches onto Batman's leg. And
I mean, that I can forgive, but I think
Ro-
what's more funny about it is apparently he's had this, or people have had this problem
yeah,
enough
yeah,
that there is a such thing as a shark repellent that
shark
exists.
repellent bat spray, yeah. And they had it, and like the Robin grabs it, and then Robin goes down the ladder of the helicopter while it's flying in midair, by the way, and hands the can of spray to Batman, and then goes back up to the cockpit of the Batcopter, and yeah, it just like he sprays the shark and it falls off, but then the shark explodes because there
Oh,
was actually a bomb.
spoiler alert! See, I didn't know that.
It was a
Jerk.
bomb. Yeah, so
So it wasn't a real shark. It was supposed to be a bomb, like a
yeah, it was
mechanical shark.
yeah, and so
So wait, it's a machine. How did shark repellent repel it?
I don't know. So many questions. There's just too many questions. Just too many questions.
Now, okay, have you ever seen Mask of the Phantasm?
Oh yeah, a few times.
I only saw it once. So that came out. I was the prime age, but for some reason, I never saw it in theater or when it came out on video.
I
And
didn't
then,
see
like
it in theater either, but I
years
was a
later, I
yeah.
saw it at a friend's house, and I thought, okay, this looks pretty cool, and I remember I was really disappointed with the villain. The only thing I could really remember is like they were trying to make it like somewhat of a not really a prequel, but it was like I remember it was explaining like how he got the Batmobile and how he came up with
Yeah.
this and how why he started doing that.
Yeah, they touched
And
on some of that stuff in
yeah,
the movie.
and one of the things I remember was there was like a girl, and I don't remember her name. She was kind of a love interest for Bruce Wayne, and you ultimately find out that she is the Phantasm. And I was like,
And
and this,
Joker's in the movie too.
oh, okay. And there's nothing, it's nothing about the fact that it was a woman. It was just like the build of this villain, like, was huge and like
Hmm.
intimidating and imposing, and almost seemed like something that was a match, or maybe even be able to overpower Batman. And the woman, she's like short and she's skinny, and I was like, how is she filling that form? Like, how is she literally looking so tall and so buff and able to throw him around and be a match for him? And then you find out it's her. Like, I just, that kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about Mask of the Phantasm. I saw it a few times. It's been years since I've seen it. I've forgotten 90% of the movie. Um, but I mean, what I love about it is it was done during the prime of the animated series, and during the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 seasons this movie was made. So it was like the same animation style, same
Yeah.
voice cast. Because after the third season of animated series, they kind of revamped a whole bunch of the show and changed how everything looked and how the plots worked. And I did not like the fourth season. So when
How
I
many
bought
seasons
them,
are there?
I don't exactly remember, but
Okay.
when I bought the DVD sets, I only got the first three because that was the prime, and then after that,
Oh.
it went downhill in my opinion, and so I was not interested in owning that. But the movie was done in that animation style and everything of the first 3 seasons, and it's solid. It's like it doesn't feel like a movie though; it just feels like a long episode of the animated show. So, in my opinion,
I don't know if this is accurate, but I heard that like most cartoons, they draw on white paper, but supposedly the Batman animated series, it was on black paper,
hmm.
and like that's why it's like much more of a darker look
Yeah,
to
I
it.
think I read that once, and I think that was on purpose because they wanted that darker feel to it.
4 seasons, by the way, of Batman the animated series.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That fourth season was the one that just was like, because up until then, the first 3 seasons was like this. It was on in the afternoons after school, 5 days
Right.
a week through the week. But then the fourth season, they made it a Saturday morning thing once a week.
And it was a
and they
little scary too.
it
I
was
remember the one where the guy was becoming the man bat. It was almost like a Jekyll and Hyde like transformation
oh yeah,
thing, and it was
that was like the first episode of the first season.
yeah. And I remember liking that one a lot. Yeah, I used to love watching the Batman animated series. In fact, I might have the most nostalgia for that compared to anything else because that
Well,
was
yeah,
probably the
I've
one I
got a
watched
ton
the
of
most.
nostalgia for that too. My brothers and I, both my brothers and I, we would ritually just we would sit down and watch this thing every day after school. Like it was the highlight of our evening. And my older brother, was so into it that I remember he was in middle school at the time, and he had shop class, and he
Talk
had this
about
thing.
Danny Boy.
Yeah, so he went and he tried to design and build in his shop class using CO2 cartridges and whatnot, spring loaded thing where he tried to build a grappling hook bat rope thing in the style of the animated series. So
Okay,
because it had a very specific look to it on the animated show,
right.
and he tried to build it, but the shop teacher said it's a good design, but I can't let you do that because it's basically a weapon.
Yeah,
So much for that. I remember seeing
holding back
the
creativity, man.
yeah, but I like Daniel had made like these sketches and everything, blueprints for what he was gonna build and how he was gonna build it, and like it looked so cool on his sketched out graph paper that he
That's
had.
cool.
So anyway, back to the movies. Where were we? We were talking
Well,
about
hey, you forgot to
Phantasm.
mention, since we're including anything that Batman was in, you forgot Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne
Batman's
is in
not in
there.
that.
He's in there. It
Yeah, yeah,
counts.
yeah.
By
It's
your logic, it
yeah.
counts.
It's not my logic. It's IGN's logic, but
Hey,
whatever.
you included Justice League just because Batman's in it.
Yeah, it's
It
just because that's
counts.
what IGN said. But
Uh-huh.
okay, I see
I'm
your
just
point.
nitpicking at you.
Yeah, Joker was okay. Anyway, back to Batman.
But that man, that Bruce Wayne scene in there, that was whew, that's what's up.
That's all I wanted. No, not really. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've got all these Bat memories, and I've got all this love for the character, and now my kids, or at least my boys anyway, they both love Batman stuff, especially my youngest. He loves, like, he's got Batman bed sheets and Batman shirts and a Batman book bag that he takes to
Yeah.
school every day. So
Eventually, I'll show Benji like the animated series. I don't know. I feel like it might be a little too intense for him at this point
oh
because
yeah,
I think it
yeah,
was
the
definitely
animated,
geared toward slightly older kids and maybe even teens.
I agree with you. That's not something I would show my kids until later.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
didn't say as much about like Batman versus Superman, which that's more your forte.
yeah, I mean, I
Um,
loved it, but it's the I'm a huge Snyderverse fan, and I'm hoping that hashtag restore the Snyderverse happens. But we'll see after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out last year, actually a year ago yesterday. Um, I'm hoping it gets some traction. There's some talk going on that they might try to make some follow up content in that universe of movies. We'll see. They definitely set it up at the end
well,
of that
is Ben
for
Affleck
a
done now
sequel.
with Batman?
No one knows.
With the
So
he's doing the Flash or something,
while we're
right?
talking about it, we do have the Flash, which is coming out next year, which features both Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, both as Batman in the
Right.
same movie because
But
of the
I heard that was
multiverse.
going to be. Well, I've been hearing that Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are done for
Well,
a
I
while
haven't heard
now.
that. I've heard that as speculation, but just a few months ago, Henry Cavill gave an interview, and he said, "quote The
I
cape
think
is
it's
still in
Henry
my
Campbell.
closet, and I'm waiting for phone calls."
Uh huh.
So, but not only are they doing that with the Flash coming out later, but also they're currently right now filming Batgirl as a movie, and Michael Keaton is going to be in that as the mentor of Bat.
So basically, like almost like a Batman Beyond, just not so future.
Probably, yeah. So it's Batgirl, and we've even seen some behind the scenes footage or photos that have leaked of Michael Keaton in the bat suit on the set of Batgirl. So I'm excited
But
about that.
okay, here's what I want to know then: if the Flash movie is only going to be like kind of referencing the first two Burton movies with Michael Keaton, and he's training her, is it going to be that kind of look, or is it also going to be very
I
modern and
I don't know. I mean, ever since yeah,
2020 whatever
Ever
4
since
or
they
whenever it
started
comes
this
out.
multiverse thing, no one really knows what to expect
Oh,
anymore.
so Keaton's going to travel back into this universe or something?
Or either that or the Flash is. I don't know what the situation is. And also,
Hmm.
by the way, up until recently, it was pretty much everyone was thinking. I don't know if it was an assumption or if it had been something that had been leaked, but there were talks that Ben Affleck's version of Batman would be killed in the Flash, and that would be the end of it. But recently, every single DC movie coming out in the next couple years got delayed, pushed back, and slotted for reshoots. And now it's being said that Ben Affleck's Batman does not get killed after all. And some people are speculating that it's going to be an opportunity for more, Zack Snyder DC content to be made.
Uh,
So we don't really know what's happening with
my
all
head
that, but
hurts.
we will see. What?
You'll see. I won't be seeing.
I'll see. Yeah. I mean, I'll be going to the theater to
All
see
right.
that
You
stuff.
tell me about it.
Okay. I do have one quick story to tell.
No.
I just thought of it.
Okay.
So, I used to play Batman all the time, like on the playground at school on recess, and me and my friend Jeff, I would always be Batman, and I'd always make him Robin. And so, one day he was like, "I want to be Batman, and you can be Robin," and I wasn't having it, and I was like, "Nope." I'm Batman, you're Robin, that's the end of it. And
Oh.
so he said, "But I still want to play with you. I just want to do it that way. I want to be Batman for once." And so I was like, "No." And then he got mad, and so he was like, "Well, we just can't be friends anymore then. Fine. I don't want to be your friend anymore." And I was like, "Really?" And so I felt really bad. And so the next day during lunch, I went up to him. Well, I went and I bought him a candy bar. And I bought this candy bar for him and I gave it to him as a gift. And I was like, "Will you still be my friend, please? Here's a candy bar." And I remember his response was, David, you can't buy friends."
All
And
right.
so that was kind of like
Did he
a
take the
moment
candy
of.
bar, or did he
He
leave?
did take it. I
He
remember he
took it, but
took
he
it.
said, "Okay, wow."
It was a Snickers, and I remember he took it and he was like, "I'll take this, but you can't actually buy friends like this."
Oh,
And so it gave me something new to think about.
yeah.
And
It takes 2 Snickers.
sometimes it's okay to be Robin.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of went in reverse order here, not intentional, but oh well. I think we pretty much went over everything.
Yeah, Batman is cool. Looking forward to the future of Batman movies, and looking forward to seeing what is in store for sure.
All right. Well, I think that's where we're gonna end it. Thanks for listening. You can follow us on Instagram, hashtag the Escape Podcast 16.
Yes, hashtag the Escape Podcast 16.
You can find us anywhere and everywhere you find your podcast. We're there, and you can also get us on YouTube or whatever. All our
Yes.
old terrible episodes.
Oh yeah, and I've got 2 words for you. I'm Batman.
Where does he get those wonderful toys? 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 All right.
You got it.